everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. But we are here to talk some birds. This is not a live video, but I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys hitting that like button, subscribing, all the things you're doing to support the channel. Hope you all had a great holiday, but we're here to talk the top 13 matchups for the Week 12 matchup between the Eagles and the Bills. And before we get into that, I'll show you the practice squad elevation, stats and standings, and depth charts for both teams, so you know exactly everything that is going on for both teams before you head into this game. You don't have to be one of those media members. Who? What? I didn't know. Like to keep you guys informed with every single thing you need to know about. Think of it like when I made the Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen comparison a couple years ago, and everybody was coming for my neck. I'm just trying to help, right? So before anybody freaks out, Eagles are the worst team in the league. Got to cut everyone. Let's try to get excited. Enjoy the ride here, and let's effing go Birds. And look, man, I've seen the chaos. I've seen the other fans, the Eagles, everybody losing their minds that the Eagles are the best team in the league. And I kind of love every second of it, because you heard me before the season started saying I couldn't wait for this moment where everyone was on board with me and everything I said they would have to repeat. Now we have a spot where you have your haters, and look, they'll eventually have to bend the knee because he's just, Jalen Hurts is that good. The Eagles are that good. So I'm loving where we're at right now, and a big test in front of us here with the Buffalo Bills. So being the best team in the NFL, we got to continue. Every team's gunning for you here, but the Buffalo Bills, they're going to come to play, man. So let's jump right into this, and let's talk about the practice squad elevations. Both teams dealing with some injuries. So a couple guys elevated here, and we made ourselves a couple elevations here. And Noah Togiai, obviously 2 tight ends out. Dean on the IR, so Ben Van Sumeren for a third time, his final elevation here. So you've got those 2 guys. Now, there was actually Quez Watkins taken off of IR, as you guys heard me say. That would probably happen. You heard the media trying to make up stories like always. Derek Barnett was released for this, that. Nope, as I told you, it'd be Quez Watkins. So as you can see, that is exactly what happened here. So don't get mad at me. I just understand how things work. I am not trying to offend anyone by telling you everything that happens. I'm literally trying to help. So don't get mad at me. I know you're going to, everybody, fire him, trade him, cut him. The trade deadline's over. You can't do that. We're not going to cut him and give ourselves dead money. Actually, having speed and taking off the top of a defense is a good thing. So as much as he's had his issues, having that speed back is a good thing. So I'm all about it. I'm not one of those new style Eagles fans like the Cowboys fans that trade everyone, trade Hurts, fire Howie, Eagles suck. That's not me, man. I'm excited. Always happy to get people healthy and back. So let's effing go. Now the Bills, they made themselves a couple elevations here. They've got some injuries at the cornerback position in Jamarcus Ingram, and then Andy Isabella there at wide receiver. So you will see all of these guys added onto the depth chart here in a second, but just wanted to cover those moves today. So in case you missed it, you are now up to date with that. But let's take a look at how both of these teams are doing so far. And we'll start it off with the Eagles, a little Kelly Green this week, baby. Let's go. So 9-1 sitting atop the division. Then you see the Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants all fighting for that last spot. Clearly, we know none of these teams hold a candle to the Eagles. So best of luck to all of them in their battle for who will be last. But the Eagles clearly atop. And not only atop their division, but atop the entire NFC. So you can see here that moved around a little bit since the other day's games. The Niners are now in front of the Lions with that loss. And I think the Vikings and Seahawks got flipped there. So a couple things moved around, but Eagles still number 1. And that to me is all that matters. So let's effing go. Now, the Bills, they've had their issues this season. 6-5, second in their division behind the Dolphins, who we saw win yesterday. First Black Friday game. Beat the Jets there, who are the only team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles any given Sunday, man. But you can see their division there. Now, the Bills, they are actually fighting for a playoff spot right now at number 8. You can see, look, got the Dolphins, Ravens, Chiefs, and the Jaguars in there too. It's a nice little surprise. You got the Browns at 7-3, even with all the injuries they have. Texans and Steelers in front of them. So pretty wild there. And then you can see behind them, they've obviously got some teams fighting there behind them, but it's going to be a close race to the end there. Sorry about that. Had to get my dog to stop barking. I don't know if you can hear that, but he just every time I start a video, it's makes me so happy. So let's take a look now at the stats here, and you can see the Eagles fifth in points, ninth in total yardage, 12th in passing, eighth in rushing. Now, giving up some sacks, do not like that, and do not like the turnover. So when you're shooting yourself in the foot, making mistakes that you shouldn't be, that's how you lose a game to the Jets. So look, I keep trying to stress, though, this is the best football team, and they're not even playing at their best. So just wait till they keep getting better. Oh, boy. Now, this defense dealt with a lot of injuries, but you can see 16th in points, 14th in total yardage. So middle of the pack there, bottom of the pack in passing, but take it all with a grain of salt. Teams just can't run on us, so they have to pass. Now, we're getting sacks, need more turnovers, but the Eagles, they will find their way. Now, the Bills, on the other hand, they're doing pretty well. 7th in points, 6th in total yardage, 7th in passing, 11th in rushing, giving up the least amount of sacks. Josh Allen, very elusive. And then you see giving up a lot of turnovers, though. That has been their issue. Defense playing well, getting turnovers, sacks. So it's not the defense. Sorry, I can't breathe now that I had to scream at my dog. But you can see here that the Bills have, obviously had themselves a good season, minus the fact that those turnovers, man. And that's a recipe to find yourself losing games. And, well, that is where they're at right now. And look, they're still a damn good team. So going to be intriguing to see this battle. But let's take a gander now at what both of these teams are going to look like for this game with the practice squad guys, all the people that are out, questionable. You'll know everything. So let's take a look here. And we'll start it off with the reserves. Quez Watkins just came off. So Bradley, Dean, Evans, Johnson, Maddox, McPherson still on there. Rogers suspended. Now, Maddox are talking about maybe coming back late in the playoffs. That'd be crazy. Justin Evans needs to come off next week. So let's take a look at the offense. We know that Goddard and Calcaterra are out for this game. So Stoll, Alberto, and now Noah Togiai. So we elevated the two people that I've been telling you all week. Togiai, Ben Van Sumeren, no surprises there. But, obviously, Togiai probably not going to see too many snaps, but he knows the system. So get him in there, but everybody else healthy. We got Quez Watkins back. So again, I enjoy having speed. So look, Brown, Smith, Jones, Alameda, do your thing. Quez sees a handful of snaps, maybe bring that speed out there. All for it. Now on the defensive side of the ball, got Milton Williams out. Justin Evans is designated to return, but was listed out for this one. So those are the two guys on defense, but we got a lot of depth at both those positions. We've been figuring out without Evans. So I'm not worried about it. Next man up. And then you see Van Sumer in there with Morrow, Cunningham, and Ellis. He will help with special teams. Now, speaking of special teams, nobody injured there, so everybody good to go. And let's get something from that return game, baby. But that is your Philadelphia Eagles lineup for Week 12. Now, let's take a look at the Bills. You see the reserves here. These are the guys you will not see. So Elam, Harris, Knox, Milano, White. A lot of big names there that they have on IR. We know exactly how that goes. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, everybody good to go, healthy there. And you see Andy Isabella added with Diggs, Davis, Shakir, Sherfield, and Hardy. So he can help in the special teams department and other areas, but everybody healthy on offense for them. And of course, I clicked the wrong thing. Man, Herschel has really pissed me off. So now you've got the special teams apparently in front of the defense, so we'll just look at that. You can see Hardy, Johnson, everybody healthy there. Now on the defensive side of the ball, Dane Jackson will be out starting corner, and Taylor Rapp, depth safety there. So you're going to have Benford, Douglas, and Johnson. And other than that, everybody else good to go there. So you see what both teams look like. You see how they've been doing so far this season, where they stand within their division and conference. Now let's take a look at the top 13 matchups, and would love to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe you like one matchup more than the other. You think one should be whatever is on your mind. I'd love to hear it. Now, let's start this bad boy off with the special teams area. And of course, I talk about this every week, and I know you guys are giving me a lot of hate for supporting Britton Covey, but I think people are going to come around on Britton Covey when they finally start realizing that he's good. But until then, I'll keep doing my part to try to educate. So Britton Covey is actually first in the NFL with 277 return yards, third at 14.58 yards per return. So that is actually good. Do not listen to the median fans, cut Covey, trade Hurts, all that stuff. Nope. I actually want this team to be good. Now, Boston Scott's only had one kick return for 38 yards, but hey, love to see somebody actually kick it to him and get a nice return there because this first one was awesome. So, yeah, but on the other side, you got Hardy and Johnson. Hardy, 9.3 yards per return, and Ty Johnson, 18.8 yards per kick return. So not the greatest, nothing too crazy, but they're talented players. So you got to watch out. Can any of these guys, make that play that changes things for their team? I think this is going to be a slobber knocker here. So if the special teams area can step in, maybe one of these return guys can do their thing. Now let's get into number 12 here and going with our tight ends up against these safeties. And they have got some studs in Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. We all know who that is. Poyer's got 2 tackles for loss, 2 passes deflected, a sack, a forced fumble. And you've got Hyde with 2 picks, 5 passes deflected, tackle for loss. And they're going against Stoll and Albert O. And clearly you're going to have Togiai there too, but Stoll only has 3 catches for 13 yards. That's 4.3 yards per catch. We talked about this last week. I need to see more receiver, 3-4 sets rather than, the 12, anything like that, where you're getting more tight ends. So that's exactly what you saw. So I think just a little bit less of the tight end, but we're still going to need them. We saw what happened to the run game. We saw what happened with the pass protection. We saw so many things that matter, and Dallas Goedert is such a huge part. So we're going to see how these tight ends step it up for this game. Now up next, let's talk about those guys that I talk about seeing more of rather than the tight end. So you've got Jones and Zacchaeus here behind AJ and Devontae, and they're missing Dane Jackson. So Teron Johnson, Rasul Douglas, Benford, another former Eagle there. So look, he made a couple picks since he's been there, Rasul Douglas. And you've got Teron Johnson, who has like a couple passes deflected, but he's been struggling a little bit. I thought a little more highly of him than how he's been this season. But I think this, Eagles wide receiver group can put the hurting on him. You've got 68 catches for AJ, 1,013 yards. That's 14.9 yards per catch with 6 touchdowns. Devontae's got 48 catches, 632 yards, 13.2 yards per catch with 4 touchdowns. I think we attack them plenty. And I think Jalen Hurts goes for over 300 yards here. Big passing game. And look, again, I think this thing could definitely be a barn burner here where we're putting up points. They got a great defense, though. But I think the one area where the Eagles can attack here is with their wide receivers. Now, up next, let's talk about the Bills running backs here. So you got James Cook, you got Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson there. And look, we're working with Cunningham and Morrow right now. And Cunningham, 61 tackles, second on the team, 2 tackles for loss, 4 passes deflected, fumble recovered. Morrow's got 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, forced fumble. He's doing well. And, James Cook's got 137 carries, 688 yards. That's 4th in the NFL. 5 yards per carry with a touchdown, 27 receptions, 251 yards. That's 9.3 yards per catch and 2 touchdowns. So this guy can get you on the ground, get you in the air. But they got a bruiser in Latavius Murray, averaging 4.1 yards per carry with 3 touchdowns. Johnson just got to play a little bit here, but he's averaging 3.3 yards per carry. But dude's got some juice to him, so they're going to use all their guys. We need our backers to get in there, be able to shut down this run, make them one-dimensional, cover them, all that great stuff. I think we can do so this Sunday. Now up at number 9, let's talk about their pass rushers going up against our tackles. So we've had some issues, as we talked about earlier. And, Lane, he's given up 2 sacks. He's got 1 penalty. Mailata's got 3 sacks given up with 4 penalties. And you've got guys over here like Rousseau, Floyd, Von Miller's even there, but AJ Epinesa, he's a death piece, and he's got 6.5 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 6 passes deflected, a fumble recovered, and 4. So he actually was filling in. I believe Rousseau or somebody was out. So, hey, but he made his time worthy, and Floyd's got 9.5 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble. He's leading the team. Rousseau's only got 4 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 3 passes deflected, interception. He's had his struggles. I think the kid's very talented, and I think this room as a whole, and Von Miller starting to show his age. So, look, man, still a very good group, though, and we have had our struggles. So I think this is going to be a good matchup to watch. We have to protect Jalen Hurts, and they're going to be coming at him for sure. So let's protect our QB, and, well, let's do it on the interior as well. Now, Kelsey's given up 1 sack. Dickerson's given up 3. 0 for Juergens there, but obviously he missed a chunk of time there. But you've got someone like Ed Oliver, who's got 6 sacks, 11 tackles for a loss as a D tackle. Got Phillips, Linval Joseph there. So, look, they've got some depth, got some big boys, but I think that our big boys are going to step up to the test, just like with our tackles. I think we can take them on. Very talented group. Not saying they're not, but I think we are more talented. So it's time to step it up. Stop making those stupid mistakes you've been. Get on the same page. Yes, we are without Dallas Goedert. So, hey, figure things out. Now, you can figure it out by running the damn ball. And you knew I was going to say it. But look, man, obviously things were a little different last week. And you saw without Goedert, things definitely changed. But Swift, 147 carries, 690 yards, 4.7 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. 33 receptions, 197 yards, 6 yards per catch with a touchdown. Kenny's averaging 3.2 yards per carry and 4.9 yards per catch. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns. So these guys, obviously Swift is the lead back here, but Gainwell will come in and spell. These guys need to go right at them. They're 16th in the league against the run, but man, Terrell Bernard has been phenomenal, leading the team with 99 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 4 passes deflected, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles recovered, and he's got a defensive touchdown. This dude is a playmaker. He's got Dodson there with him. They're going to be looking to shut down the run, whether it's on the ground, in the air, and they've got the talent to do so. Going to be a really fun matchup to watch, but I think the Eagles can pound that ball right down their throats, and that's what I want to see this Sunday. Now, up next at number 6, I've got our safeties against their tight ends. So you got Quentin Morris and Dalton Kincaid here. Now, Kincaid, since Knox has been out, is just lighting things up. He's got on the season 51 catches, 436 yards, 8.5 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. And he wasn't even the starter for most of the season. So we all know this dude. He's got like that Zach Ertz kind of the F-type tight end, great receiver, not the greatest blocker, but dude's a playmaker. And one thing I talked about this whole offseason, why we needed to draft Sidney Brown as the third safety, the things you could do with him. Well, now that we've got Byard here with Blankenship, you can really use Sidney Brown the way he's supposed to. And I think you could really, in this game, use him to help you with a guy like Dalton Kincaid out there. So expect to see Sidney Brown used as a dime backer. That's what I would do. But hey, what do I know? Now, up next, getting into the top 5 here, baby. Let's go. And we've got their tackles against our edge rushers. And just got rid of Brandon Graham. If you guys follow the show, or I'm sorry, Derek Barnett, you know, I was looking at his name, my bad. But you knew I talked about Barnett being released for the past few weeks here. We knew it was coming. Media tried to turn it into something it wasn't, and they ended up looking like idiots like usual. So, yeah, like I said, Quez Watkins would be activated, and that is what happened. I hear a lot of things. Smith is now the starter. He's taking all these reps. I don't know if these people just don't watch the games, but Derek Barnett hasn't played the last couple of games, and Nolan Smith is still around the same snap count. I am not benching Hassan Reddick and Joshua. I do not care what the media or fans say. I think they're phenomenal. And I think Brandon Graham's still got a lot left in the tank. So no need to rush Nolan Smith because people don't know what's happening. So I think for me, this is just right on schedule with what was already happening. So you got Reddick, 8.5 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble, pass deflected. Got Sweat with 6.5 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 forced fumbles, and a pass deflected. Now going up against Dawkins, 1 sack allowed, but he's got 6 penalties. And then Brown on the other side, he's got 2 sacks given up, but 6 penalties as well. So these guys have their issues here. Get them rattled here. Bring the heat, baby. And I think we could see some sacks. And I talked about it. You know, they're number 1 and giving up sacks there. They are the best at it. But that's because Josh Allen's very elusive. So put some hits on him. Get him down to the ground. These tackles aren't that good. Take those numbers with a grain of salt. Now at number 4 here, oh yeah, our big boys in the middle going up against theirs, and they've got some good ones here. You know, you've got McGovern here, who obviously ex-Cowboy. You got Morse, you got Torrance, all very talented guys. And Morse only giving up 1 sack, 1 penalty, 1 sack for McGovern, 3 penalties, and then 1 sack for Torrance there, but he's got 6 penalties. So it's a decent interior. Torrance, very bright future. I think he's going to develop into something special there, but oh boy, we've got some monsters. Now, Milton Williams is going to be out, unfortunately, and as the 4th guy, he's been kicking ass, but Tua Pelotu and maybe a little Ajomo as well going to get there. So step it up, baby. Next man up. But Carter has been wreaking havoc. 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumble. Davis, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. And even Cox has 1.5 sacks there. And I think these guys continue to, in this game, and they have a tough match, man. This is a really good matchup here. That's why it's closer to the top. Going to be more fair fight, you know, rather than the ones at the bottom where I think the Eagles can capitalize, or kind of like they capitalize with their safeties versus our tight end. But, you know, I think that this is going to be a battle to the death, and I am looking forward to see how these lines do against each other. Now at number 3, oh boy. So we talked about, how Slay, Roby, and Bradbury together, healthy, what they could do for this team. And I think that for me, they have proven that they can shut down anybody. Now, we did it against the Dolphins. We showed you with the Chiefs, and obviously don't have the greatest receivers, but we can shut down anybody at any time. Now, they've got Diggs, Davis, Shakir, and they even use all their back end guys. So going to see a lot of receivers, a lot of speed out there. And we got a guy like Diggs, who 77 catches, 895 yards, 11.6 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. Davis with 33 catches, 490 yards, 14.8 yards per catch with 5 touchdowns. Then you've got Shakir with 22 catches, 363 yards, 16.5 per catch, 2 touchdowns. Dude's a burner. You got to watch out for him. And if I were them, man, I'd be using him as a returner as well. And they have at times. Dude is very talented. Got to watch out for him. And, obviously, this is a whole new secondary when you have a nickel cornerback that's healthy, that isn't an undrafted kid being thrown into the fire. So, or a guy that's your third safety. So I just really think that things are going to continue to, come together while the safeties and corners, everybody gets on the same page now that we're finally healthy. So let's stay healthy and let's shut these guys down because, man, they are super talented. And, well, the guy throwing it to him, he's pretty talented as well. And, he's got 2,875 yards, a 69.6 completion percentage rating, 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He also has 7 rushing touchdowns in there. So Josh Allen, man, you guys remember this game I've been looking forward to for a very long time. All the heat I got from every Eagles fan, all the other fan base, everybody came for me when I made the comparison years ago that Jalen Hurts could develop and would develop just like Josh Allen did when everyone said he could never develop. So I know I got a lot of heat for it. I know a lot of people were offended, but look, I only was trying to help people see the light. And now that the media tries to hijack all of my work and all the other content creators, look, I'm grateful that they finally know where to come to look smart. But God, I could have done without those couple of years there. But hey, it is what it is, man. And I'm just happy that they're going to find out this Sunday just how much Jalen Hurts has developed, and I hope they think of me the entire game. So you see here the Eagles defense giving up 248.1 yards per game, 28th in the league. Not good, but we are getting some sacks, 3.1 per game, tied for 8th. And then we're getting only a half interception per game, tied for 27th. I need some interceptions in this game. Let's go do that. I really think we could shut him down, get him rattled. He makes stupid mistakes when he gets rattled. So let's do that. Now, there is a guy that doesn't get rattled, and I know a lot of people are going to tell me he can't develop. He's nowhere near Josh Allen. He can't. You guys remember the Kendall Becks, the Brendan Deegs, all those names out there, all the people that told me that Shane Half, Jalen Hurts could never amount to anything. He's a failure. He could never develop. Those people are about to have the worst game of their lives. And, afterwards, they're going to talk about how great Hurts is. They're their biggest fans of his. But I'm always going to remember how much they hate him. And, man, that brings joy to my heart to see them have to bend the knee to him. Truly beautiful. So, look, going up against Hurts here, man. And, they're giving up 204.2 yards per game. That's 10th in the league. 3.5 sacks per game. That's 3rd. And then 0.9 interceptions. That is tied for 10th. So, again, we have talked about this, defense this entire time. And let me tell you something. They are stacked. It's not just the offense that is talented. So we really have to protect him with all those things we already talked about. But Hurts right now, man, 68.5 completion percentage rating with 2,497 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And then he's got 9 touchdowns rushing to go with that. So, woo, baby. Look, I think that we all know how good Jalen Hurts is now. And I think people would love to take back all those things that they said to me and him for the past few years here. But hey, man, all I've been waiting for is to actually see this matchup. And then, I'll let my work do the talking, and we'll see if people still feel Jalen Hurts can never develop. I mean, he was just the MVP runner-up last year. So, in my opinion, he did. But, hey, what do I know? Only the guy that started the Hurts train and try to get everyone on board. But they're going to find out this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're looking forward to another matchup, something else on your mind, you want to let me know your score prediction, whatever you got going on up there, I would love to hear it. And we're a day away, man. Just fight through it. I see all the negativity. I see all the people whining nonstop. The Eagles suck. We got to cut everyone. I see the hater fans coming. Just ignore those people. Try to enjoy the ride. The Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, and I promise you, these people will be talking about, I was a fan back with McNabb. You see, I was a fan when I was the closet fans. They only come out when we're winning, and I promise you, they'll be out in droves when we're there at the parade. But I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. Hope you're staying safe out there. Hope you're ready to beat some Bills' ass tomorrow. But I'll be back tomorrow. Game's at 4:25. I'm going to try to make that show around 3 o'clock, the pregame. I will be live, breaking everything you need to know down. We're talking about whatever under the sun, getting pumped up for this bad boy. But I'd love to hear from you. Appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribing, all the things you're doing to support the channel. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. Hope you all have yourselves a great night. Stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!